Hello, welcome to GPTV on Tuesday the 14th of May. I'm Gary Peer.
And I'm Sally Zellman.
And I'm Darren Crongold.
You certainly are Darren Crongold. You certainly are Sally Zellman. And welcome.
Thank
It's
you.
good to have you both here. Finally good to get a word in because Phil's gone away to Bali. He's sitting there in the beautiful, in his, what he would say, in his, what do you call those tight bathers of his? I don't know. Anyway, speedos or whatever. Mankinis, budgies, could be any of those. Some
frightening sights.
Conjure some horrible images. But anyway, hopefully he's getting some well-earned rest. Then he'll come back a even more dynamic agent if it's at all possible.
For sure.
We're in a very interesting time of year. We've got the elections coming up on Saturday.
Yes.
So I'm not going to ask you who you're voting for because that would be incorrect. But Labor government is tipped to win. What are we thinking about
Don't
that?
know.
We have
You
to see
never
what
know.
happens. So they've been campaigning, kissing babies and hugging grandmas and, happy Mother's Day and coming out with policies and Liberal coming out with a policy and Labor goes, I'll match that, and Labor coming out, I'll match that. So it's pretty tense, isn't it, out there?
It is, but it's not always correct. Not always the predictions are correct.
Well, that's true too.
Yes.
We've seen that with Brexit. We've seen that with Donald Trump.
We saw it with Donald Trump.
Might be an upset.
It could be an upset. You never know. Maybe one of the smaller parties. Maybe one just goes, I've had enough of both these guys and they'll vote in the shooters or something like that. Who knows what's going to happen? A quiet weekend. We had a property share. Shooters are fishers and shooters. I haven't heard of those two. Could be Greens, could be One Nation, or it could be anything. Anyway,
Let's see what Australia has to say.
Let's see what Australia has to say. By this time next week, we'll know whether we've got a new government or the same one back in power with a Prime Minister who's our fifth or sixth or something Prime Minister.
In a short period.
In a short period of time. Now, we've talked a little bit about the market in previous episodes, but last week it was very quiet. Probably not a lot to report, really. We had something withdrawn. We did have a few sales, but we also had some pass-ins. So it was such a small weekend, there's probably no point putting the towers up. You can figure from that, probably wasn't a great weekend either.
No towers this weekend.
No towers this weekend. But I'll tell you what tower I can put up, and that is the tower of the photo of Order of Command near Caulfield. Now, I've got to say, I don't often talk horse, but I did a few weeks ago on the show and somebody actually has sent me an SMS saying, thank you for tipping your horse. So a watcher did bet on the horse that I tipped, which did win on Saturday.
Yes, his horse won.
I did. So I've got some bragging rights from Order of Command that won on Saturday. So there you go. It's become, it's become right off track. It was a real estate show. Now it's become a show about horses, but it did win. So well done.
And elections.
To the co-owners and to the trainer and the election. And I want to talk about the sisters in our office, Sally, because you're a bit of a matriarch of the women in our office. And I actually, before coming here, did a little bit of a summary of the numbers.
Yes.
And we are now, Darren, you'll be interested to know, massively outnumbered by women in our office. I think we are the minority.
Wow.
So we are, and not just the minority, I think it's probably about the 60-40.
Right.
So in terms of percent. So, we're just being told what to do now by the women. And
welcome
that's
to
right.
Welcome to my life and my family.
Exactly right. Well, that's right.
I've been like that all my life since my kids were being born.
I'll never forget it. It was a funny day that we played golf. I remember where it was. It was a Q Golf Club, which we only played a few times. And I remember saying to Darren when his wife was pregnant, I said, you'll have twins and they're girls. And he laughed because he's one of three boys, of which the boys have only had boys. And he said, that's impossible. And of course, lo and behold,
it was possible.
He's now got three, but they are beautiful girls. And that's it. You have to balance the books a little bit there. So you've got three daughters, a wife, and you've also got a dog that's a female.
So I understand how the office feels.
So you're well and truly. Well, we've got a couple of new dynamic women that have joined us.
We have got some wonderful women.
Let's put up some new people, because Sarah Falace has joined us in our Bentley office.
She's a beautiful woman.
She is a lovely lady, so congratulations and welcome to her.
Yes.
We've also got in our Carnegie office the wonderful Adriana, I should say.
What an amazing woman.
Incredible person.
I heard her speak this morning, Gary,
yes,
and she's a gun.
She's worked at Nelson Alexander, a great company on the other side of Melbourne. So Adriana, welcome to you. Got a lovely photo of you up there as well. Just two of our recent additions, but tell us why saleswomen do so well in particular, Sally. What's going on there?
Empathy, understanding. Look, a lot of these women have got two jobs. It's not just the real estate job. They're running the house. They're sometimes, some of their mothers, their wives. They have a lot of responsibility, but they say give a busy person something to do and it'll get done. And I think there's a lot in that.
Yep.
But all these women are they're experienced, they're educated, they're knowledgeable, and they just have substance and they just have a great understanding of people. And I think that's really what it is. Nothing against the men, Darren. Nothing against the men.
We still get a say.
But
we get a big say.
You know what they say about have a happy life. You have a happy wife,
wife,
as you have
happy
a happy life. You know?
And behind every successful woman, there's somewhere a man, isn't there now? So
now I'm liking that side.
That's how it works, and I guess
cool.
that's one of the things that is interesting is that the major parties don't have a fantastic woman as their potential new prime minister. Because we've had one, probably time we have another one to run the country as well. Could be. I would have thought that Julia Bishop might have.
Yeah, that's what I discussed that the other week. That I thought if Julia Bishop was a leader, she
I've
would.
met her, and she is outstanding.
She's charismatic and dynamic, and put the politics aside, just as a person, she seemed like an extraordinary person. But anyway, look, there's been that many leaders, that many changes, and of course last week we did have Tegan Cunningham on the show as well.
Another champion.
That was another champion, and a lovely and dynamic lady. If you haven't seen that interview, go back onto our website and have a look at the interview with AFLW star and champion Tegan Cunningham.
These are the times. We are so fortunate that as women in particular that we have the opportunity to be able to move forward and beyond. And I think times have never been better. We're a blessed generation, and for a lot of these girls and who are out there doing what they need to do, good luck to them. They're doing phenomenal work.
Absolutely. I look at America where saleswomen dominated for years, and I think the reason it didn't happen here was only because in Australia...
They didn't let them.
Well, exactly right. We let you vote, wasn't that enough? No,
back in the kitchen.
That's right. The reason here is because you had to be full-time to be at that age. It is hard. And of course in America you didn't, so women have been very more successful than men in America for years in sales, but property management, of course, has been mostly, I think, a female-dominated industry.
It has been,
and I think
absolutely.
and I think there's again back to your point, multitasking, empathetic, understanding, different situations that people are probably better than us do. So we're a little bit on the outer there, aren't we?
Well, I'm just listening to all of this, so keep going.
So we're just being told what to do.
Yes. That's right, Darren. That's what happens in our team.
Exactly right.
She thinks it does, but it's okay.
Do what you're told.
Talk her in front of the camera.
And behind the camera.
And behind. Not sure behind.
Well, I know that all of the women look to you as the inspiration in our office, as the matriarch, so thank you for all the great work, and for the great mentorship that you offer our team, particularly with everybody as well. Now, let's also talk about big news in the real estate industry. Is the Purple Bricks, who said about 5 weeks ago, we're not leaving, we're not talking out of Australia. No, we are here to stay. And now they've said, see you later, we're gone. Bye-bye. So it's quite funny that it's happened because we only don't often talk about. Well, they've been here for a while, a bit more than that, but we talked about it on the show a couple of weeks ago, and I guess the reality is that we've seen a number of these discount models, and the reality is that we've found they just don't seem to work. And it's interesting that even in some of the press, it talks about their great success in the UK. And when I was in London, I don't think you were on that tour with me, Darren or Sally, but when I was in London on the day of Brexit a few years ago, Purple Bricks were possibly at one of their perceivably high points. And I remember speaking to all of the agents in London who I visited. There was a number of them, and the highly successful ones, and they had made absolutely no impact in the more prestigious areas and the better parts of London, just none at all. So it's interesting, a lot of noise from a disruptor. And look, I think the concept is great. We can, the concept of offering the consumer a service for a low cost is a very appealing concept. But the problem is...
May I say something?
No money there.
It's not like you're selling bananas or a product that it has a price. Every home is so different, and it needs the expertise of fine-tuning it, and I don't think they could just get that across.
Well, the challenge is
they didn't have the people that were good enough, because the people they've employed were people for them weren't dynamic agents that were looking to earn a lot of money. They were just wanted to work a few days a week. There's always that dilemma there, because we're paid to be negotiators.
That's right.
And to get the best price for vendors.
Yes.
That's our first, no matter where you look in terms of the Act and all of the legislation and the ROV guidelines, the principal, the person who is our boss, and person that is paying our salaries basically, is the vendor.
Yes.
And we are paid to get the best price from the vendor.
And you do.
Well, I think we do, thank you. I think we do it well in our office. But the reality is that, if you are not by nature a good negotiator, and let's face it, if you offer your services at a low rate and that's your point of difference, then how are you supposed to fulfil your sacred duty to get the best price for the vendor? If it is just purely a service, then
That's
I
what
think
I'm saying.
that's
It's
fine.
fine.
But it's not a service.
No.
It's a whole lot of expertise. It's to understand
very
the market.
emotional for
It's
people
emotional
buying,
as well.
yes.
It's to have that empathy and the amount of time that's involved in the sale from right through the very early stages of meeting the client, working with the client, and then executing actually a great outcome for the client. The amount of time to do it well makes it very hard to discount,
So for all those
your
people,
expertise.
For all those people who think we just stand at the front door and smile and go, could you sign here and here? It's not quite like that,
well,
is it?
unfortunately,
There's
the
a lot
public
of
see us at an auction.
Yes.
They see
The
a
tail
price.
end.
They see the tail end. It's like seeing an actor do a great performance and they walk away, earning a fortune. But the reality is that for every actor that earns a fortune, and even for that actor, they had to audition, they had to go and lose parts, had to scrape their way. And there's a lot of people that didn't make it as well. So
yes, we're still waiters.
Absolutely, still waiters in Hollywood or wherever it might be. So it is it's an interesting game, our game. But one thing I've always felt is that if you don't charge a reasonable commercial rate, and of course we are competitive, and I must say that we have to be, and we are as a company ourselves, and also agents in general. But if you are going to look to be the cheapest in our business, you've got to have to cut something out. That's my expertise, tells me. And once you start cutting something out, then it affects the outcome for the seller who employs you. So I haven't been able to work out how we can afford to be cheap and still be good negotiators. But maybe in my lifetime I'll find a way. I hope so for my sellers, but I don't think it'll be that way. I think it's always going to be about being competitive and doing a great job. I think people much prefer that. Let's also talk a little bit about what we're doing in this house here, because we're in this incredible house.
Yes.
Now, you both know this house, 22 Palm Avenue, Caulfield North. I want to talk about this house. Before I do that, I just want to talk about the time of year now. Some people, we've got elections coming up this week. What's your advice, Sally and Darren, to people who might want to sell in winter?
Yep.
I think winter is probably one of the better times. There's nothing wrong. Any time is a good time to sell. But from my personal experience, I personally would choose to sell in winter if the timetable was suitable. There's still a lot of buyers out there, but there's not as much stock. Yeah. So that's the good side of it.
I agree with you, Sal. Yeah. I mean, it's times we're in at the moment where we're coming into the traditional winter months, and it's always been quieter. But
it's colder. Some people say, well, the weather.
The weather. But I agree with Sally. There's a lack of stock out there, big time, and we've got plenty of buyers. And with the economy the way it is, and interest rates at the 60, all-time low, and we're finding now that we're asking really interesting questions to one people which we've never really asked before is, have you got your finance sorted? Which we've never actually ever had to ask that in ever.
It's a very
and times have changed, and you ask that question, they go, yes. Well, guess what? They know the market's changed. They know it's off 10-15%, and they're out buying, and they're ready to buy, and they want to buy because they know it's a good opportunity. But we've got stock problem, so what can we do? We've got to keep working at it.
The volume's not there, but the buyers are there.
But
so if you want to sell,
haven't you noticed how many hands have been up who are underbidders, pushing? So that they are pre-approved. They've got the money 100%. In place. They're ready to go.
Even in the paper on the weekend, they wrote that, and I think we're seeing some positive articles come back into the market in the last 2 weeks. So you can see probably the market has stabilised or levelled out, and it's a good time to buy. But you're seeing that they're writing now back in the market that we're seeing 3-4 bidders at auctions again. We've been seeing that for a couple of weeks, so this area's woken up to it. Some areas of Melbourne haven't woken up to it, but it's a busy. We want it to be busier, so get your properties on the market if you're ready to sell.
Well, I think that's the key. If there is going to be a flood of stock, it'll be in spring. So if you want to get the opportunity to take advantage of those buyers that might not still be there in spring,
more choice,
or at least having that sort of
the
intensity
winter
of
is
competition.
good.
Well, I know I sold our house in winter.
So did I.
So we've done it that time of year. I mean, I'm not saying. Did you also in June? So I'm also not saying. None of us think that spring's bad. It's a busy time. It's a great time. It's an exciting time. But I think in winter when there's lots of buyers around and not much competition for sellers, it's also a good time. And
I actually feel, and we're going back to that election time we're in. If Labor do get in, I think there will be a flood of property come on the market because of because of their change of ways they maybe will do next year. They're saying they will. So I think there will be a flurry of properties come on,
a bit more
and might stimulate the market a little bit. I'm not saying it's going up, but it will stimulate it most likely.
Well, it'll stimulate more volume, but I don't know whether that'll
because people buy in before negative gear before Jan 1 next year.
We will find out soon.
We will find out.
You never know. I mean, I'm not sure that if Labor do get in, there's going to be a positive perception about properties going up with some of the things that are around. But one thing we know, we're in a great city. The population will grow. And ultimately, property prices are going to go up again. I mean, I don't think any government can stop that happening. And at the end of the day, the government needs the property industry to be thriving because it creates jobs.
Confidence.
It creates confidence. It's the drive of the economy, really. So I think whoever gets into power will certainly work out that if they want to make sure that they're getting lots of money out of stamp duty and land tax and capital gains taxes and all the sorts of things, then they're going to have to do something to get the market moving again. That's inevitable. What is also inevitable, and we know 100%, is that we're in a great house here, 22 Palm Avenue, Caulfield North. We can just walk around the corner to our office. Yeah. And how about the newest cafe that's opened up? It's called is it Common Room or Common?
I'm not sure.
Common Ground. Common Ground, maybe.
I've seen it.
There's nothing common about it. I'm going to go for lunch there today with Wayne. But it's a great, not your brother Wayne, but the other Wayne. But what a fantastic place that is. But let's talk about what a fantastic place this is, because you're both familiar with this magnificent home. We're sitting here in the kitchen, this expansive meals family area, overlooking this beautiful pool with a perfect orientation. You can see the palm trees in the background. Tell us a little bit about Darren. 22 Palm Avenue, Caulfield North.
This home was architecturally designed in 2002. It's about 30 squares of living. It's a beautiful home. It's got beautiful high ceilings. Fantastic light and space in this home. We're sitting in the hub of the house where Gary just said it overlooks the pool, north facing garden, double lock-up garage. You've got 4 fantastic bedrooms upstairs. One could be a study, but it is 4 bedrooms. 2.5 bathrooms. There's a lovely sitting room at the other side of the staircase from where you'll go to tour of this home shortly. Yep. But it's just got a fantastic feel.
Great flow.
And I've always enjoyed this home. We sold it to these people.
Yes,
I remember selling it last time and it was fantastic. And it's got a really, really good feel. So I've always been really, impressed with this home and enjoyed working on it for twice now, so it's good.
It's got thanks for that wrap. It has got a great feel, and I guess when you do sell a home before, it's and you know it before, and you sell it to the people who live here, people
you know to sell it to.
We know well.
Good street.
I remember pushing them hard at the time to say, buy this house, it's a great house. So certainly I'd be doing that to anybody else.
They've loved living here too.
They have loved living here. It's been a great home for them. It's a loved home. The people before them also love living here.
Absolutely.
Who we know.
That's right.
So 22 Palm Avenue, Caulfield North, just around the corner from our office.
The sun's coming.
The sun's streaming through as we're speaking about
my sunglasses on, I can't see.
And what an exciting home and an exciting opportunity. And Darren and Sally and their team are certainly very hands-on and involved in this one, so call either of them if you want to have a look through. The auction details, I might have a quick look, is on the 26th of May, so it's only in a couple of weeks' time. So it's coming up very soon. So that's a little bit of a wrap on GPTV this week. We're talking about the women in real estate and the sisters who are doing it for themselves and for the men as well, and for the brothers who are carrying us through in the real estate world. We're very grateful to our wonderful, wonderful sales women and support staff and property managers and marketers and admin support. We have an amazing array of fine ladies and women in our company, which I'm happy to pay homage to in this episode. That's a big wrap. Anything else that you want to add or talk about? No.
Just list your homes and buy some homes, and we'll be happy.
That's it.
Get involved, get engaged. There's plenty happening in the world of real estate. We've got some good offerings and lots of buyers waiting for more good offerings to come through. That's a big wrap on this GPTV in May. Thanks for joining Sally and Darren.
Thank you.
I'm Gary Peer. Look forward to seeing you next week when Philip, with his beautiful suntan in his man, will be back to join us.
Wait to see the suntan.
I'm sure about that. See you next week. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.